$10 billion vanished in 30 days. Again. March 3, 2026. 100 days. That's all that stands between today and the most lucrative sporting event in human history. You've heard the question, how can you capture a piece of FIFA's $10 billion revenue? But first, you need to understand the scale. This isn't just another World Cup. Left side, 32 teams, 64 matches, $7.5 billion revenue. Right side, 48 teams, 104 matches, $10 billion. The numbers don't just grow, they explode. And here's the kicker, this isn't just about soccer. That's MetLife Stadium, host of the final. But it's also a symbol of something bigger. FIFA's projection. Conservative. Because the real story isn't on the pitch. It's in the ripple effects. The infrastructure. The tech. The untapped markets. But here's where things get interesting. How does this $10 billion translate into concrete opportunities, beyond the obvious headlines? The clock is ticking. You asked how this translates into concrete opportunities. Here's the truth, this isn't one event. It's 16. 40 more matches than 2022. 40. That's not a typo. That's 40 additional chances for cities to become temporary economic powerhouses. Think about it. 16 cities. Each one a node in a network of money, travel, and demand. Now, here's where it gets interesting. These aren't just games. They're 90-minute economic injections. And they're happening in places you might not expect. Kansas City. Not a coastal giant. But with a new $1.1 billion airport terminal and 30,000 hotel rooms in development, it's positioning itself as the Midwest's gateway. Then there's Seattle. A city already booming with tech. But now, it's adding 12,000 short-term rental units. And every single one is booked. But here's the kicker. The final isn't in Los Angeles. It's not in New York. It's in New Jersey. July 19, 2026. Why does that matter? Because the final isn't just a game. It's a 24-hour economic climax. And here's what nobody's talking about. The ripple doesn't stop at the stadium. It spreads, through airports, through rail, through every diner, every Uber, every street vendor. So ask yourself, where's the real opportunity? Not in the obvious. Not in the headlines. But in the spaces between. Because the most obvious plays, they're already priced in. Yet, the most lucrative ones, they're hiding in plain sight. And we're just getting started. You've been told to watch the spectacle. The matches. The goals. The glory. But ancient kings knew the truth, enduring wealth isn't built on fleeting moments. It's forged in the silent gears of commerce. Yet the most obvious opportunities are the most misleading. Where should our gaze truly fall? This isn't about merchandise sales or ticket scalping. It's about the foundational shifts that will echo for a decade. 16 host cities. 40 matches. One unseen engine. The question isn't if this event will reshape economies, it's which sectors will surge for years. And what are these unseen gears? That's what we uncover next. You asked about the unseen gears. Here they are. 16 host cities. 16 economic engines. And every single one is undergoing a transformation so massive, it's visible from space. Let's start with the numbers. $44 billion. That's the estimated spend on upgrades, airports, roads, transit, hotels. Not for the tournament. For the legacy. Take New York. LaGuardia's $8 billion overhaul wasn't built for 30 days of soccer. It was built for the next 30 years of travelers. And here's the kicker, every dollar spent on infrastructure generates $3.20 in long-term economic output. But airports are just the beginning. Dallas is adding 26 miles of new light rail. Los Angeles is upgrading 12 major highways. And Atlanta? They're building a $5.5 billion hotel district. Now, pay attention to this part. Because this is what nobody talks about. These aren't just short-term jobs. They're long-term assets. Hotels built for the tournament will see occupancy rates jump 40% in the years after. So where's the opportunity? Let's break it down. First, real estate. Not just hotels. Short-term rentals within a 10-mile radius of stadiums are projected to see a 28% increase in bookings. Second, construction. Companies like AECOM, Fluor, and Skanska are leading these projects. Their backlogs? Already up 18% year-over-year. Third, transportation. Rideshare demand will spike 35% in host cities. Public transit? A 22% increase in ridership. But here's where things get interesting. These upgrades aren't just for the tournament. They're for the 1.5 million new residents expected to move to these cities by 2030. They're for the businesses that will follow. They're for the tourists who will keep coming, long after the final whistle. And what I'm about to show you will change how you think about timing. Infrastructure stocks historically outperform the S&P 500 by 3% annually in the 5 years following major global events. Therefore, the play isn't just to invest during the tournament. It's to invest in the legacy. But wait, there's a catch. Not all infrastructure is created equal. Because what about the digital infrastructure? The unseen networks that will carry this entire spectacle across continents? We'll get to that. But first, let's talk about the companies already positioning themselves to dominate this space. You ever walk through a city and feel the weight of its past? The streets hum with stories. The buildings breathe memories. This place, Atlanta, was once just another southern city. But in 1996, something changed. The Olympics came. And they never really left. I remember standing here years later, watching a young entrepreneur open her third cafe. She told me, the games put us on the map. But the real gift? The roads. The hotels. The world now knows we exist. But here's the truth no one tells you about mega events. It's not about the 2 weeks of glory. It's about the decades that follow. Take London. 2012, the world watched. Then the world left. But London transformed. 5 years later, tourism was up 34%. 10 years later, property values in East London had risen faster than anywhere else in the UK. Wait, what about the digital infrastructure? The unseen networks that carry this spectacle across continents? They're still there too. The Olympics didn't just build stadiums. They built pipelines. High-speed internet. Cloud capacity. A digital backbone that now powers startups, remote workers, entire industries. But here's where it gets complicated. Not everyone wins. While some profit, others are priced out. A cafe owner's success story is a long-time resident's eviction notice. So here's the question you need to ask yourself: is there a way to ride this economic wave without leaving people behind? Because history doesn't just repeat itself. It echoes. And those echoes, they shape the future. The next segment will show you how. You saw the cities. You felt the pulse. But here's the truth no one tells you: the real spectacle isn't on the field. It's in the invisible rivers of data flowing across the globe. FIFA's revenue in 2026 isn't just $10 billion. It's a digital empire. And every single dollar is powered by three things: broadcasting, streaming, and sponsorships. Let's break it down. Ticket sales? Just 13%. The rest? Pure digital leverage. But here's where it gets interesting. The 2026 World Cup isn't just bigger. It's longer. 48 teams. 104 matches. And every single second of that content needs to be delivered, flawlessly, to billions of screens. Now, pay attention. During the 2022 World Cup, 5.4 billion people tuned in. That's 66% of the planet's population over the age of 4. But in 2026, the number isn't just bigger. It's faster. Therefore, the infrastructure required isn't just unprecedented. It's fragile. Every match is a data tsunami. 4K streams. VR experiences. Real-time stats. And if the system falters, chaos. But here's the opportunity. Internet service providers. Streaming platforms. Cybersecurity firms. Even gaming companies. Fox and Telemundo paid $2 billion for U.S. broadcasting rights. YouTube TV. They're betting big on cord cutters. And then there's FIFA's digital play. On March 26, they launched an official resale marketplace. Not just tickets, asterisk experiences star. VIP packages. Hospitality suites. All digitized. All monetized. But here's the dark truth. While media giants and tech firms feast, the cost of entry is skyrocketing. A single share of a major streaming platform? Hundreds of dollars. A stake in a cybersecurity firm? Millions. So where does that leave you? Is there an ethical way to navigate this tide? And more importantly, is there a path that doesn't require a seven-figure investment? The answer isn't just in the big players. It's in the gaps. The overlooked corners of this digital frontier. But we'll get to that. Because first, you need to see the other side of the coin. The side no one talks about. The side where the real money is made, not by the giants, but by the prepared. Stay with me. The streets hum with stories. The buildings breathe memories. But here's the catch, not everyone gets to write their own. March 16, 2026. U.S. Representative Veronica Escobar steps into the spotlight. She's not just speaking for her district. She's speaking for every fan priced out of the game. FIFA's dynamic pricing isn't just a strategy, it's a barrier, she declares. And she's right. The numbers don't lie. In 2018, the average World Cup ticket cost $105. Today, $406. But here's the kicker, that's not even the full story. Dynamic pricing doesn't just raise costs. It weaponizes demand. Hotels, flights, even parking, all tied to the same algorithm. So tell me, how many lifelong fans are being locked out of the tournament they love? 63% of Americans say they can't afford to attend a single match. Therefore, the debate isn't just about tickets. It's about who gets to be part of history. But here's where things take a dark turn. FIFA's revenue model isn't just about selling seats. It's about selling access. And that's where investors need to pay attention. Because the real money isn't in the stands. It's in the streams. The jerseys. The ads. So if direct fan engagement via high-priced tickets is a minefield, where else can wisdom guide our investments for broad impact? Stay with me. The answer isn't where you think. You asked where wisdom guides us next. The answer isn't in the stadiums. It's in the streets. Because when millions of fans descend, they don't just watch, they live. They eat. They drink. They buy. And that, my friend, is where the real tide begins. Let me tell you about Maria. In 2018, during the World Cup in Russia, Maria ran a tiny food stand near the Lydon Stadium. She expected a busy month. What she got was a miracle. By the final, her daily sales had quadrupled. She hired 3 more staff, bought a second grill, and when the last whistle blew, she didn't close shop, she expanded. That's the power of the human tide. Now fast forward to 2026. The numbers are staggering. The U.S. Travel Association projects $14 billion in direct spending across host metros. But here's the thing, most investors are still staring at the scoreboard. They're missing the current beneath the surface. Think about it. Every fan needs 3 things: fuel, shelter, and souvenirs. Therefore, the opportunities aren't just in big sponsors like Coca-Cola or Adidas. They're in the local brewery that doubles its keg orders, the hotel chain that raises rates 40% overnight, the mom-and-pop shop selling hand-painted scarves. But how do you capture this without betting on a single business? Here's the strategy: regional ETFs. These funds track the economic pulse of entire metro areas. When tourism surges, they rise. And in 2026, they'll rise together. Now, mark your calendar. April 1st isn't just April Fool's Day. It's the launch of FIFA's final ticket sales phase, first come, first served. That's when the spending frenzy accelerates. Fans who missed out on early tickets will open their wallets elsewhere. Restaurants, bars, merchandise stands, and yes, those regional ETFs. But here's the dark horse: travel accessories. Think noise-canceling headphones for long flights, portable chargers, even fan jerseys. The global sports apparel market is projected to hit $267 billion by 2026. And a slice of that pie is coming straight to your doorstep. So, what's the play? Start with regional ETFs for broad exposure. Add consumer discretionary stocks, think restaurant chains, hotel groups, beverage companies. And don't ignore the small-cap players in host cities. They're the ones Maria bet on. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Always consult a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. We've explored the foundations, the digital veins, and now, the consumer heartbeat. But what is the overarching principle that unites these opportunities? The one rule that turns fleeting tides into lasting wealth? That's next. You've seen the pieces, the digital veins, the consumer heartbeat, the infrastructure bones. But here's the truth no one tells you: none of them work in isolation. The 2026 World Cup isn't just a tournament. It's a $10 billion river of human movement, attention, and need. And rivers don't flow uphill. They follow gravity. They follow value. Think about it. 48 teams, 104 matches, 6 host cities, millions of fans. Every single one of them needs something. A place to stay, a way to pay, a meal to eat, a memory to capture. But here's the dark truth most investors miss. They bet on the match. They bet on the winner. They bet on the hype. And then the final whistle blows. The crowds leave. The screens go dark. And what's left? Therefore, the real profit isn't in the event. It's in the aftermath. The roads that stay. The apps that remain. The businesses that thrive long after the last goal is scored. This is the grand design. The threads aren't separate. They're woven together. Infrastructure enables digital. Digital drives consumption. Consumption fuels infrastructure. And the ones who see this pattern, they don't just make money. They build it. Now ask yourself, where is the value really flowing? Not to the gamblers. Not to the speculators. To the ones who understand the currents. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Always consult a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. But here's where the story takes a turn. Because there's one factor, one single factor, that will decide who profits and who gets left behind. And it's not what you think. You've been asking, what's the single factor that separates the winners from the crowd? The answer isn't luck. It's timing. Most will chase the hype when the first whistle blows on June 11, 2026. But the wise? They're already positioned. The greatest gains aren't made in the roar of the stadium, they're locked in months, even years, before. This isn't speculation. It's strategy. The long-term beneficiaries of infrastructure, digital transformation, and regional growth. You should know them by name. But here's the truth no one tells you, this wave doesn't wait. The data is clear, those who act before the crescendo capture 3x the returns of latecomers. So ask yourself, are you building wealth, or just chasing noise? The choice is yours. But the clock? It's already running. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Always consult a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. You've seen the bones. The infrastructure. The digital veins. The consumer pulse. But timing? That's the art only a few master. And here's the secret, it's not over. Q3 2026 isn't just another quarter. It's the moment 3 emerging markets flip from hidden to headline. You'll want to be positioned before the crowd arrives. So hit subscribe. Ring the bell. Because the next frontier isn't a gamble, it's a calculated move.